Just a century ago, a Laurentian homestead by the painter Clarence Gagnon publicly appeared in one of the rooms of the prestigious Palace of Arts of the British Empire exhibition at Wembley, London, the first major international art event after the First World War. The verdict was clear. British critics acclaimed the works of the Canadian section, which centered around Tom Thomson, members of the Group of Seven, Maurice, Walker, Gagnon, and several other painters, thus gaining fame internationally in 1924 at Wembley. Clarence Gagnon had a flourishing career at this time. The painter and engraver had been living in Paris for 20 years. During his forced stay in Quebec from 1919 to 1924, while he lived in Bay St. Paul with his young wife Lucile, we recognize his qualities as an emissary of Canadian painting abroad. The 5 years he spent in Quebec were fruitful on several personal and professional levels for Gagnon. Bay St. Paul is a place of intense creation, measured by the most significant number of sketches the artist created in Charlevoix. During this extended stay, Gagnon had the opportunity to travel through the entire territory, on foot in the summer, on skis in the winter, and sometimes aboard a boat going down the river. This remarkable landscape, a Laurentian homestead, painted in 1923, is imprinted by research and discoveries tied to his stay in Charlevoix, amongst his happiest memories. This painting is inspired by a sketch in the Thompson collection at the Art Gallery of Ontario. Thanks to this work, executed in 1921, we can identify the place that inspired the painter, known as the Range de la Misère, located in the outskirts of Les Éboulements, one of the most picturesque villages of Charlevoix. Perched at an altitude of 365 meters, it offers an extraordinary view of the St. Lawrence River and Île aux Coudres. In this large-scale canvas, he accentuated the impression of a low-angle view, granting 2/3 of the composition to the white mass of the uneven terrain. Gagnon raised the summit of the Laurentian Mountains in the background. He imbues it with a completely different experience of the land by adding a draft horse, pulling a well-bundled inhabitant in his cart along the path, marked with tree branches stuck in the snow. A Laurentian homestead portrays the mountain air covered in white clouds under a slightly hazy afternoon sky. Even if Gagnon only reserved a fifth of the composition for celestial movements, they animate the vast snow-covered surface with luminous nuances. Following the exceptional showing in Wembley, a Laurentian homestead enjoyed great visibility in several Canadian exhibitions in Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa, before disappearing from public life for almost 2 decades. A few years later, a Laurentian homestead was featured in a 1942 exhibition to commemorate Gagnon, which circulated in the major museums of Quebec and Ontario. Only 62 years later did the painting reemerge for public view in 2006 as part of the vast retrospective covering the remarkable legacy of Clarence Gagnon, an essential figure in the history of Canadian art. Cowley Abbott is delighted to feature this masterwork following the sale of a record-setting painting by the artist last season entitled Ice Harvest Quebec, dating to 1935. A Laurentian homestead hits the auction block in Toronto on May 30th, and we look forward to sharing the painting with you during our previews.